This is lesson 3. I'm going to continue with the refining sort of these curtain elements that I've generated. If I look at the elevation, which I have conveniently located here, opposite. So what is this telling me? Well, here, this first curtain wall section should be a single window panel with a transom, and doesn't have, it's not split in the center as this one is. So I'm going to take this element, change it from storefront to plain curtain wall, which is going to ask me, because I'm changing this type, the grid lines are no longer associated with it, and I'm going to answer yes, delete grid lines. So I want to create my own grid lines here and then convert those grid lines to mullions. So now it just thinks this thing is one big glass element. It isn't quite that, right? It's one glass element plus a spandrel plus a transom on top. So how I go about doing that is I go into Architecture, Curtain Grid. And Curtain Grid allows me to move the mouse over when it senses curtain wall. You can either draw a horizontal or a vertical grid element. In this case, I need a horizontal one. And I need for it to be, I'm going to say visually it looks like about 18 inches, 20 inches from the top. So if I change this value to 20 inches, I can actually go into my CAD drawing here and measure it. I'm leaving out a lot of, so from there to there, 24 inches, right? 111. So I should maybe move that a bit. I could type in explicit dimensions, or I could select it and work with the inferred dimensions it's displaying. So that's about where I want the spandrel to be that divides the bottom glazing panel from the transom. Then I could go into Architecture, Mullion. Curtain wall mullion creates a mullion from a grid line. It's as simple as that. We're going to perform the same steps for this 3-piece here. Change it to a simple curtain wall, delete the grid lines. Go to Architecture, Curtain Grid, divide it in half vertically. It snaps to midpoints, and then I need a horizontal one, and it's inferring the location of that other one. And I'm going to take those two and make now a mullion from that element and a mullion from that element. that's how, so down the line, the process is the same. This system in here is going to be a bit trickier. Let's do it for the third. What's this third one? No, that's divided in half as well. So I'm going to select this system, change the type to plain old curtain wall, delete the grid lines, draw new grid lines, curtain grid at the midpoint, at the 2O mark from the top, convert those to mullions. I'm not paying attention to what exactly mullion it is, what the profile of that mullion is. Naturally, you can go in and refine those. What I'm doing is creating the overall condition of sill, glazing, let's select two of these together and change the type to plain old curtain, delete the grid lines. Those are a little more interesting. There's a big fat mullion in the center, right? But for purposes of what we're doing, it may not be necessary to model it that way. The interface or the transition or threshold to the street is still the same. Basically, you're inside. You have an expanse of glazing at regular intervals. So you have to think about that when you're architectural grid lines. Or I could put in two grid lines and make the condition in between them opaque. Let's see if I do that. I'm not paying attention to not being terribly accurate with the distance between things, but now see, because I've divided things up, these now are individual panels. So conceivably this could become an opaque panel. I could have done the same with a horizontal mullion. So I'll leave that to your imagination and technique. There's several other things that we'd want to do with the storefront here that we could refine it, and I'll leave that for a separate lesson. So this way you have 3 brief lessons on how to quickly prototype a storefront.